My wife said for the 100th time my ex would never have done that. I finally snapped, then why didn't you marry him? She got quiet, so I continued because he didn't want you either and the chaos erupted. I, 36 male, have been married for 7 years. 7 years of hearing about a man I've never met, never wanted to meet, and honestly never gave a damn about until my wife made him the third person in our marriage. It started small. Year 1, we're assembling furniture. I'm sweating, cursing at an instruction manual written by someone who clearly hates humanity, and she goes, my ex was really handy. He built me a whole bookshelf once. Cool, good for him. I finished the dresser, crooked but functional. Year 2, I forget our anniversary dinner reservation. My bad, genuinely. But instead of just being mad like a normal person, she hits me with, my ex never forgot important dates. He had this whole calendar system. Year 3, I get a promotion, but it means longer hours. My ex always prioritized quality time. He understood balance. Year 4, I try planning a surprise birthday party for her. Rent a venue, invite her friends, coordinate with her sister. The cake comes out slightly lopsided because the bakery messed up. Her response? My ex threw me the most perfect 25th birthday. Everything was flawless. Year 5, she gets a cold. I make soup, bring her medicine, work from home to take care of her. She's miserable and snapping at everything, which I get. Being sick sucks. But then my ex used to do this thing where he'd read to me when I was sick. It was so sweet. Year 6, we're renovating the bathroom. I'm doing most of the work myself to save money. Tile isn't perfectly aligned because I'm not a professional contractor, just a guy watching tutorials. My ex's family had connections to contractors. He would have had this done professionally. You see the pattern? Every fight, every minor disagreement. Every time I fell short of some invisible standard, her ex got summoned like a ghost who apparently did everything perfectly. I tried talking to her about it multiple times. Babe, it bothers me when you compare me to him. She'd apologize, say she didn't realize she was doing it, promise to stop. Then 2 weeks later, my ex used to massage my feet without me asking. My friends noticed. My buddy once heard her say something at a barbecue about how her ex grilled better, but this is fine. He pulled me aside later. Bro, that's messed up. You just gonna take that? I made excuses. She doesn't mean it that way. It's just how she processes things. We're working on it. We weren't working on anything. Last Tuesday was the breaking point. We were having dinner. I'd cooked. Nothing fancy, just pasta with homemade sauce. Took me about an hour. She takes 3 bites, pushes the plate away, and says it's good, but my ex used to make this amazing carbonara like restaurant quality. Something in me just snapped. 7 years of swallowing this down. 7 years of being measured against a dude who, by the way, dumped her. Then why didn't you marry him? She blinked. What? Your ex, the perfect guy who built furniture and remembered dates and cooked restaurant-quality food. Why didn't you marry him? That's not, I wasn't saying, because he didn't want you either. Dead silence. The kind where you can hear the refrigerator humming. Her face went through about 6 emotions in 3 seconds. Shock, hurt, anger, more anger than this cold fury I'd never seen before. How dare you? How dare I what? State facts. You've been throwing this guy in my face for 7 years. 7. And the whole time I'm supposed to just sit here knowing he's the one who ended it. You didn't choose me over him. He chose nobody over you, and I was the consolation prize. She stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. You're disgusting. You know that? Absolutely disgusting. And you're obsessed with a man who didn't want to keep you. We all have our issues. I spent 7 years building a life with you, and this is how you treat me. You spent 7 years reminding me I'm second place. Maybe check the mirror before you lecture me about treatment. She grabbed her teas and left, slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. I sat there with my apparently inferior pasta, wondering if I just ended my marriage. Spoiler, I had, but not in the way I expected. Update 1, 4 days later. So things escalated, obviously. My wife didn't come home that night or the next. She went to her mother's, which I found out via text at 2 a.m. staying at Mom's. You need to think about what you said and apologize. I won't come back until you do. I didn't respond, not because I was being petty, but because honestly I wasn't sorry. Was it harsh? Yeah. Did she deserve to hear it after 7 years of this? Also, yeah. The next morning, her sister called. Now her sister has never liked me. She thought her sister was settling when we got married, and she's made that clear at every family gathering with little comments and looks. Once at Thanksgiving, she said loud enough for me to hear. He's fine, I guess. Not exactly what I pictured for you. You need to fix this, she said. No, hello. Good morning to you too. Don't be cute. She's devastated, crying all night. How could you say something so cruel? Did she tell you what she said to me? What she's been saying to me for 7 years? Pause. She mentioned the ex commits, but that's just venting. You're her husband. You're supposed to handle it. Handle being constantly told I'm inferior to her ex-boyfriend. That's what husbands are supposed to do. You're twisting it. She loves you. Sometimes she remembers good things. For 7 years, every fight, every mistake I make, her ex would never. Longer pause, just apologize, be the bigger person, I'll think about it. I didn't think about it. Day 2, her father called. This was new. The man had maybe spoken 100 words to me in 7 years. Quiet guy, stayed out of things. Son, he started, and I knew this was going to be bad because he'd never called me son before. I don't know what happened between you two, but my daughter is hurting. Whatever you did, you need to make it right. With respect, sir, whatever she told you isn't the full story. She told me you attacked her verbally, brought up things meant to wound her. Did she tell you she's been comparing me to her ex for our entire marriage? Every week, sometimes every day, reminding me I'm not as good as him. Silence. Then that's between you two, but a man doesn't speak to his wife that way. And a wife doesn't treat her husband like a silver medal for 7 years. He hung up on me. Day 3, I got home from work and found her in the living room. She hadn't texted she was coming, just sitting there on the couch, arms crossed, waiting. We need to talk, she said. Okay. What you said was unacceptable, cruel, designed to hurt me. And comparing me to your ex for 7 years wasn't? That's different. I wasn't trying to hurt you, I was just talking. You were just constantly reminding me that someone else was better, that I was your backup plan. You're being dramatic. I laughed. Actually laughed. I'm dramatic. You bring up your ex when I cook dinner, when I forget something, when I breathe wrong, apparently. But I'm the dramatic one. He was important to me. That relationship shaped who I am. Then be with him, I can't. She stopped. He's what? And that's when the real truth came out, not because she wanted to tell me, but because she was caught. We've been talking just as friends, reconnected on social media a few months ago. My blood went cold, defined talking, just catching up. Nothing happened. Show me. What? Your phone. Show me the messages. If it's just friendly catching up, show me. She clutched her phone like I'd asked for a kidney. That's an invasion of privacy. You've been secretly talking to your ex, the one you compare me to constantly, and you want to lecture me about privacy? I don't have to prove anything to you. You're not my warden. I'm your husband, or at least I thought I was. She didn't show me, which told me everything I needed to know. That night I slept in the guest room. Not because she asked me to, because I couldn't stomach being in the same bed. The next morning I called a divorce attorney, not to file immediately, but to understand my options, what I was looking at. Because I knew, deep in my gut, this wasn't recoverable. And here's the thing about being the calm one, the logical one. People underestimate you. They think you'll fold, apologize, take them back. My wife thought she had all the power because she was the one who left, the one demanding apologies. She was wrong. Update 2 weeks later. The messages were bad, real bad. I didn't snoop through her phone. Didn't have to. Her sister of all people actually came through with some information. Not out of loyalty to me, but because she was angry at her sister for something else entirely. Turns out she'd been bragging to her sister about her ex reaching out, about how he finally realized what he lost, about how he was practically begging her to meet up. Her sister told her mother. Her mother, surprisingly, didn't approve. Told her she was playing a dangerous game and needed to cut contact. My wife's response blocked her own mother for a week. This all came to me through a phone call from my mother-in-law, who I'd always had a decent relationship with. She called me directly one evening while I was eating takeout alone in my kitchen. I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen without reacting. I listened. She told me about the messages her sister had shared about my wife meeting her ex for coffee 3 weeks ago while we were still living together. Still married. About my wife apparently telling her sister she needed to see if there was still something there. I'm not excusing what she did, my mother-in-law said, but I'm also not letting you be blindsided. Whatever you decide to do, you deserve to know the truth. Did anything happen at that coffee meeting? Long pause. I don't know. She told her sister nothing physical happened, but emotionally she admitted she still had feelings for him. I thanked her. Genuinely, then I called my lawyer and officially filed for divorce. The papers were served at her mother's house. I wanted witnesses because I knew exactly how she'd spin this otherwise. The process server confirmed delivery on a Thursday afternoon. The phone calls started immediately. You're divorcing me. Over what? Over 7 years of disrespect in the fact that you met your ex behind my back. Who told you that? Does it matter? It was my mother, wasn't it? That witch. I told her in confidence, so you're not denying it. Silence. Then crying. It was just coffee. Nothing happened. I swear nothing happened. I don't believe you, and even if I did, it doesn't matter anymore. You can't just end a 7-year marriage over coffee. I'm ending a 7-year marriage over you constantly comparing me to someone else, secretly reconnecting with that person, meeting them behind my back, and showing zero remorse for any of it. The coffee is just the cherry on top. I made one mistake. One after 7 years of being a good wife. Good wives don't tell their husbands their exes were better. Good wives don't secretly meet those exes, and good wives don't double down when they're caught. She hung up on me. Over the next week, her family launched a full assault. Not physical, obviously, but constant pressure from every direction. Her father left a voicemail saying I was throwing away a family and that real men work through problems. They don't run. I saved it in case I needed evidence of harassment later. Her sister texted me a novel about how I was too weak to handle a strong woman and how no wonder she looked elsewhere. Also saved. Her cousin, who I'd met maybe twice, somehow got my number and called to tell me I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Blocked. But the coup de grace came from my wife herself. She showed up at my workplace. I was leaving for lunch when I saw her car in the parking lot. She was leaning against it, arms crossed, looking like she hadn't slept in days. We need to talk. Privately, we don't. Everything goes through lawyers now. Screw the lawyers. I'm trying to save our marriage by ambushing me at work. By making you listen. You won't take my calls. You won't respond to texts. What am I supposed to do? Accept the divorce. She grabbed my arm. People were starting to look. Please. I know I messed up, but 7 years we can fix this. I pulled my arm back. You spent 7 years telling me I wasn't good enough. Then you went looking for someone better. And now that it didn't work out, you want me to take you back? That's not fixing things. That's using me as a backup plan again. That's not fair. None of this is fair, but it's reality. I walked away, got in my car, drove to a drive-thru because I'd lost my appetite for anything else. Ate alone in a parking lot and tried to process the fact that my wife was in the parking lot. My wife genuinely seemed confused about why I wasn't forgiving her. That's when I realized in her mind she hadn't done anything wrong. The comparisons were just talking. The secret meeting was just coffee. My feelings about all of it were dramatic. She wasn't going to change. She couldn't even see the problem. Update 3, final 3 months later. The divorce finalized last week. 8 months total from filing to final decree. Felt like 8 years. Her entitlement during the proceedings was something else entirely. Her lawyer was aggressive. I'll give him that, probably feeding on the anger she brought in. First, she wanted the house. The house I bought before we got married. The house that was solely in my name because I bought it 2 years before we even met. Her lawyer argued she contributed to the household for 7 years and deserved equity, said she'd helped with improvements in maintenance that increased the property value. My lawyer pulled out records showing I'd paid the mortgage entirely. Every single payment, she contributed to utilities and groceries, which we'd split roughly evenly. But the house, that was mine, bought and paid for before she was even in my life. The judge agreed she got nothing from the house. Second, she wanted alimony. Substantial alimony. Her lawyer painted a picture of a woman who'd sacrificed career opportunities to support the marriage, which was news to me since she'd worked full-time the entire marriage and actually got 2 promotions. She made about 60% of what I made, but still a solid income. Mid-60s. My lawyer argued she was fully capable of supporting herself, provided her tax returns and employment history showed she'd had steady income increases. The judge awarded her 18 months of transitional support at $1,200 per month, enough to adjust to single life, apparently. Less than a quarter of what she'd asked for. Her face when that number was announced, she looked like she'd been slapped. Third, she wanted half my retirement. This one stunned the most. We'd been married 7 years and retirement accounts accumulated during marriage are typically split. I had a decent 401k, about $180 built up. My lawyer fought to protect the portions from before marriage, but the 7 years of contributions during fair game. I had to give up about 43 calories. Hurt, but legally fair. I accepted it because fighting would have cost more in legal fees than the amount itself. Fourth, and this one was almost funny, she wanted our dog. We'd adopted him together year 3, a beagle mix, sweetest animal you'll ever meet. She barely walked him, barely fed him, complained when he shed on her clothes. But suddenly in the divorce, she had to have him. My lawyer asked if she had records of vet visits, food purchases, care. She didn't. I had all of them, every single vet appointment I'd taken him. Every bag of food I'd bought. She'd posted maybe 3 photos of him in 5 years. I had hundreds. She dropped the request when it became clear she'd lose. Throughout all of this, her family ran interference. Her sister called me pathetic for fighting over money with a woman you claim to love. Her father sent a letter through his lawyer, threatening to make my life difficult if I didn't give his daughter what she deserved. My lawyer sent back a response that basically said try it and will pursue harassment charges. Never heard from him again. Her mother, to her credit, stayed out of it after the initial revelation. I think she was embarrassed by how her daughter was behaving. Never reached out to me again, but also never piled on. The final hearing was anticlimactic. She didn't even look at me. Her lawyer did all the talking. My lawyer did all the talking. We signed papers. It was done. Walking out of that courthouse, I felt lighter. Not happy exactly. You don't feel happy ending a 7-year marriage, but lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. Here's the part I know some of you are waiting for. What happened to the ex? Turns out the perfect guy who built furniture and cooked carbonara and never forgot anniversaries. He wasn't interested in being her backup plan either. According to mutual friends who still talked to both sides, she'd reached out to him after I filed. Told him she was getting divorced, that she'd made a mistake, that maybe they could try again. Really put herself out there. He turned her down, said he was seeing someone else, had been for almost a year. That he'd only reached out as friends because he was in a nostalgic mood after a breakup, not because he wanted to rekindle anything. Said he wished her well but didn't see a future there. She'd blown up her marriage chasing a ghost, and the ghost didn't want her either. I'd be lying if I said that didn't feel vindicating. Not happy exactly, but vindicating. Last I heard through the grapevine, she moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. The transition from our house to cramped rental apparently hit hard. She complained to mutual friends about how unfair the settlement was, how she got nothing after 7 years, conveniently left out that she tried to take a house she had no claim to. She's been on dating apps. A friend of a friend spotted her profile. One of her prompts said something about looking for someone who appreciates her. Rich, considering. Her ex got engaged to his girlfriend a month ago, saw it on social media. She apparently posted something vague about timing and missed connections that same day, still not over him. Her relationship with her family is strained. Her mother is still barely speaking to her after the whole blocking incident. Her sister took her side publicly, but apparently they've been fighting privately about money stuff. And me? I'm adjusting. The house feels different now, quieter, sometimes too quiet. I've rearranged a few things, made it feel more like mine again. Got rid of the throw pillows she picked out, changed the curtains. Small stuff, but it matters. I'm not dating yet. Not ready. 8 months isn't enough time to process 7 years. Started therapy about 2 months ago, which I probably should have done years ago. Learning to identify what I actually want versus what I was willing to accept. My therapist said something that stuck with me. You spent 7 years being told you weren't enough. That leaves marks. Give yourself time to heal those before bringing someone new into your life. Good advice. The other day I cooked pasta, same recipe, the one she compared to her ex's carbonara. It tasted fine, better than fine, actually. Because I wasn't eating it while waiting for the comparison to drop. Wasn't bracing for the next reminder that someone else did it better. Did I handle everything perfectly? No. That comment about her ex not wanting her was brutal. I could have taken the high road, addressed the issue calmly, suggested couples counseling years ago instead of eating my frustration. But after 7 years, I was fresh out of high roads. Sometimes you snap. Sometimes the thing you say is the thing you've been holding back for too long. Sometimes the truth comes out ugly because it's been compressed for so long. Do I regret it? Honestly, not really. It forced the truth out, made her reveal the secret contact with her ex, made me realize this marriage had been dying for years, poisoned by constant comparison and quiet resentment on both sides. Better to rip off the bandage than keep pretending everything was fine. To anyone reading this who's going through something similar, trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And you're not crazy for wanting a partner who sees you as their first choice, not a consolation prize, not someone who settles for you while dreaming about someone else. The ex comparison stopped the day I filed for divorce. Funny how that works. Anyway, that's the story. 7 years, one brutal comment, and a whole lot of consequences. Time to cook some pasta. And nobody's going to tell me it's not as good as someone else's.